Hey guys, it's Graham. What's cracking? I am chilling out here in the shop and decided to just take a load off. I'm in my little gravity chair thing here and brought out today's comics, new comics this week. Yeah, normally I film over there, see, but decided to be a little bit comfortable and just kind of enjoy this space while the weather is nice. We're in that in between spot where it's not meltingly hot or freezing cold. Things are just wonderful. So this week's comics, well, okay, so I ordered this one, I think like last year. It's the latest offering from Ethan Van Sciver with his Cyberfrog stuff. Heartsick Horror. I would have to go dig through the comics that I have in my bedroom to see, because I feel like all of these were included in other Cyberfrog comics that I've gotten. There was this little aside here with Cyberfrog fighting Traumadeus. That was cool. Um, Heather and her wedding with a guy named Harold, and that whole backstory, like what she got up to while Cyberfrog was gone, regenerating. I also feel like this side story with a guy named Teddy, a guy named Grizzly, the Bear Adventure, the Bear Necessities. This whole story, I can't remember if this one was included or not, but it felt very familiar. It's nice to have it all in one issue. I'm not necessarily a collector, one of these guys that's like, oh, I got to have this one with all the variant covers or whatever. Yeah, it does showcase different art, but it does feel just kind of like a sales gimmick to me, and I'm not really about that. Nevertheless, like these are all like these all these Ethan comics have always been quality productions. They feel hefty, printed on good material. They're worth the cost. Um, This is the first one that I want to say I've ordered that has shown up on time. I backed the first two Cyberfrog books, and I think Blood Honey was a little bit late. Wrecked Planet was way late. You're still good. I think this was like a side story that um, he decided to take it in a different direction, but the art was still really good, so he included it, and it makes sense. It doesn't really go anywhere, but it's good to showcase the beauty of it, and I'm fine with that occasionally. It reminds me of Kyle Ritter's Starblades book. Like, there's not really much of a story to that one, but it's showcasing artwork. It's like having an art book that's got a little bit of dialogue here and there to explain what these characters are and what they're doing. This is fine. I'm more interested in. I feel like there was another Cyberfrog book that I backed. Um, Ethan Van Sciver is consistently months and months, and in some cases years late on his campaigns. And so, as much as I might be interested in something like Rainbow the Brute, geez, when did he launch that one? Like 3 years ago? And a bunch of the other Cyberfrog books haven't really come out on time. You'll get people that'll say that, like, well, if a book comes out on time, sometimes it means that they rushed it or whatever. It's like, yes and no. In this case, like, I'd like to have them closer to when I ordered them. For the most part, they have been worth the wait, but the wait itself is annoying. Like, I do appreciate that about the Rippaverse model, where like they have a book ready before they start taking orders from it. Speaking of which, Horseman comes out tomorrow, and I think I'm even more excited for that one than I was for Alpha Core, which still remains my favorite of the Rippaverse books. So I'll probably back that one in just a couple of hours here. We got the latest Geiger that came out today. Ooh, this I'm actually really stoked about too. They're doing a Junkyard Joe action figure. I'll consider scraping together some moolah for that. I'm already spending a whole bunch of money on Ghost Machine, but it's good. This is Geiger issue number 6 on the new storyline, the Nate the Nuclear Knight. I believe Ghost Machine trade paperbacks collect 6 issues instead of the normal 5, meaning this is the end of a story arc. In this one, Geiger's two-headed wolf, Barney, the arc was mostly about him getting captured as a guy to bait Geiger and to pull him out of hiding so that a bounty could be collected on him. They were able to rescue Barney from the electrician, was the name of his villain, in the last issue, but now like he's kind of recovering from the beating and the torture that he took at the hands of this villain. Like, he's not eating, he's still recovering. Even as a character that doesn't have any dialogue, like it was cool to see his arc and like how he ends up trying to get his bite back along with his bark. He ends up wandering into this zoo, and there are mutant animals in the zoo. There are hunters that come through occasionally, and if there are purebred animals, they try to capture them. If there are mutant animals, they just kill them. The gorilla knows sign language, and for whatever reason, Barney can understand. But the zoo animals, all they know to do is to hide from the hunters, and Barney gets really upset at what the hunters are doing, and so he starts to attack, and the other animals are like, "Oh, we're doing this now. Okay, cool. We'll follow Barney's example and we'll attack." And uh, awesome artwork. There's a final panel here where it says the next story is called "The Last Suburb," and I do believe that that's the start of the next volume of Geiger stories. But as always, this one has been a pleasant surprise. I don't care for radioactive wasteland type stories. I didn't plan on reading this one. It's tied to Redcoat and Junkyard Joe. I like Redcoat. I love Junkyard Joe. So I got into this one, and I'm still pleasantly surprised at how much I've enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. The other book that came out today was Transformers issue 12. I do believe that Skybound is also doing kind of the same thing that Ghost Machine is doing, where they issue, they put 6 issues to a trade paperback, meaning that this is also the end of an arc. And I could pull the other 11 issues out and give you the full story here. There's a couple of things that culminate here. There's a lot to like. There's a couple of nitpicks that I have. Throughout this entire thing, like in the first 2 or 3 issues, I thought Carly was fine, but she got more obnoxious as it went on. I like what they're doing arc-wise with Optimus. I was unsure about it at a couple of points, but you see, like from a point early on, like he's learning about humanity and about their values and their virtues, and how he has to be careful in this world made of meat and not metal. He accidentally kills a deer when he first wakes up out of the ark, and it's his conversations with Spike that show him, like, the world is a little bit more frail than you're used to, but that makes us more careful for the most part. The humans, a lot of them are mistrusting of the Cybertronians when they roll up, and for good measure. They see Autobots and the Decepticons, and they don't distinguish, and the Decepticons cause wanton destruction, so they're also mistrustful of Autobots. But when Spike's father, sees Optimus sacrifice or make sacrifices to protect humans, he understands that there's a distinction. And when Spike is gravely injured, Sparkplug does this thing that I haven't really seen before in a Transformers story, but like he joins with the Matrix and with Optimus's spark to kind of give him energy to save other people. And so Sparkplug kind of dies / disappears, but Optimus starts like getting these weird visions of Sparkplug's memory of Spike as a little child, as a little baby and stuff, but like imagining him there. It brings him closer to the humanity element of it, which I thought was odd at first. It was an unusual direction to take this, but I don't think that it violated or broke anything. It was just like, when you're writing in an established property, how do you fit in and not break anything, but also kind of stand out and like have a point to putting your own fingerprints on it? And I think Daniel Warren Johnson found an interesting direction to take this, and a working direction that pays off in the end. There's another element to this story here that has been done a couple of times in the movies, and I don't think it really works. The Decepticons are trying to bring Cybertron into Earth's orbit, and doing so will destroy Earth. And Optimus has to choose between saving his home world and bringing its war to Earth perpetually, and they've been at war for thousands of years on Cybertron. Or do I cut it off here and decide to protect Earth? Do I have a loyalty to this new place or to the old one? And he chooses what they've shown him choosing in the movies. I kind of got flashbacks to the 2013 Man of Steel movie, where instead of like trying to save Krypton, he's trying to save the genealogy of Krypton, like the people and not necessarily the planet. And the way that Zack Snyder had that movie done, like Superman effectively commits genocide against a bunch of unborn Kryptonian babies, which that was not my only problem with that movie, but it was a big one. Whereas instead here, like Optimus won't destroy Earth to save his own place. And that costs him in standing amongst his people. Elita 1, who is a female robot, and in the comics, in the original cartoons and stuff, she and Optimus were romantically linked. There's not really so much of a hint of that here. Like, they know each other, they're old comrades and stuff. But she's got beef with him. Like, oh, you've gone soft. You didn't want to save Cybertron. Like, conflict drives good story. It makes me like Optimus more than the other characters. I don't like how they handled Ultra Magnus. You get flashes to Alita trying to save Ultra Magnus back on Cybertron, and then they teleport to Earth. Ultra Magnus was tortured by Shockwave, and when it comes time on Earth for Ultra Magnus to fight Shockwave, like he has a PTSD breakdown and he runs away. And I'm like, I get what you're trying to do there. I don't think it works, and I think it's a massive disservice to Ultra Magnus. So there's some quibbles and stuff, some issues that I have with it, but I think that it remains like the best version of this story. And going all the way back to last year when I wrote about this on Upstream Reviews, it frustrates me that writers like this aren't getting the nod when it comes time to write movies for Transformers or something, when they're doing a really good job with these established stories but still taking it in a fresh direction. They're doing the best with this material, and they're getting relegated to a form of media that not enough people enjoy or consume. I've really enjoyed getting back into comics and or getting regularly into comics and having my first pull file over the last year, and Transformers is a big reason as to why. There was a recent announcement that Daniel Warren Johnson isn't going to be writing Transformers anymore after he finishes this current arc. I guess he threw himself whole hog into it and he's ready for a break. I heard on one comic channel recently, I can't remember who said it, that the guy they got to replace him is going to be another one of these political ideologues, and I'm concerned about what that means going forward. Like, the focus should be on the IP, and whether you're giving me the most diehard Ayn Randian libertarian or the most Neil Chomskyan Trotskyite communist should be irrelevant if they are capable of writing the story and not screwing up the story by inserting their own crap into the story. So I'm hesitant to get too optimistic about the future, even though this run with Daniel Warren Johnson has been very good. I'll still continue on with it until it gets bad, effectively. Oh, I shouldn't have wrapped this up just yet because there's an advertisement in the back. See what I mean about variant covers? Like, there's 5 covers for one issue. It's because they want you to spend $20 a month on one book when the content is all the same. Like, I'm not that kind of comic collector, just not that guy. But the new G.I. Joe book is starting up in November. This is where they're bringing in all the characters that they've led up with before, with Duke and Cobra Commander and Destro, and I do not see Scarlet on here. Oh, that's been a bad book. All right, so how long am I at this? 13 minutes. All right, so that's the deal. It's been a good reading day for comics. Enjoyed Geiger. I liked the ending of this particular arc of Transformers. I'm wondering where it's going to go from here. Like I said, I liked that Daniel Warren Johnson didn't try to reinvent the wheel. And he also explored some fan theories. Like, for example, the movies especially have been over-reliant on Bumblebee as a character the last couple of years. And in the first or second issue of this run, Bumblebee dies right away. Like, the Decepticons just smoke him right there on the Ark before he wakes up. And then we get to see Shockwave and Soundwave leading the Decepticons instead of Starscream. Starscream tries at first, but even though he's ambitious and conniving, he is also not as competent a leader as Megatron was. And he ends up having a standoff with Soundwave, and Starscream gets smoked as well. And for the most part, you get to see what it looks like with the Decepticons running the show under Shockwave and Shockwave and Soundwave. They are more brutal, but they are more effective as leaders, compared to Starscream. They're more in Megatron's mold. And they're still trying to get Energon and save Cybertron and take control of it and conquer Earth and do all the things that you would expect Decepticons to do, but you see different characters trying to do it that fans have long wondered what that would look like. And so he's proved his bona fides there, as a writer in general and as a Transformers fan in particular. And I think that's what's given this series value over the last year. I just hope that whoever the guy is that takes the reins next does a good job and doesn't try to say like, hey, okay, hey, now that we've got this thing that's popular and it's working again, let me crowbar it back into a political thing. Let's stop doing that. Like, that's been happening in comics for over 10 years. It's been happening in Western art very overtly for the last 5 years. The studios some of them are finally starting to learn their lesson and they're backing off of it. I really hope that the comic book publishers do as well. Can we just enjoy good art together? It's been great. Let's keep at it. All right, that's 15 minutes. I was going to talk a little bit about the first story in Super Generation. Mine's the second one in there. But I think I'll save that for a video where I just kind of sum up what each story was about and share my favorite parts. That's it for now. I got to go in and prep my food and get ready for work. Y'all drive safe. See you out there.